Good morning, my seedy friends. So the video we're going to do today is going to be a little bit longer than normal. And I want you to get a cup of tea, which I just did, and sit down with me and let's have a chat. So what we're going to talk about today is books. And the reason we're going to talk about books is because of a dear friend of mine, Nancy Libby. She is with Maplewood Homestead, and she told me about a collaboration that Roots and Refuge, which is another YouTube channel that I very much respect, is doing a book collaboration. Well, anyone who knows me knows that I love two things. One is seeds and the other one is books. So I have quite an extensive book collection, and most of them are in boxes because we are off-grid. So I thought I would make a cup of tea and go over some of my favorite books and why. Because honestly, first I want to do a shout out to Jess at Roots and Refuge because I love her. She is great. I've learned so much from her, and I thoroughly enjoy her new farm and the huge garden that she put in and the high tunnels and everything else. So tons of respect coming your way from us over here at the Pop-Up Homestead. Secondly, thank you for the opportunity to talk about books because, oh boy, do I love talking about books. I started collecting books 20, 30 years ago. I'm in my early 50s. So I started with this basic book, which you can see has been well loved. It's Storey's Basic Country Skills. And this book is one of my favorites. And the reason it's one of my favorites is because it has a little bit of everything in it. You can see I have papers shoved in here, and it's been gone through so many times. This book covers perennials, flowering shrubs, animal deterrents, rejuvenating your lawn, fruit trees, how to build a tree house, how to make pies and cookies, preserving and storing food, basic animal butchering. It also has, everything from how to shear a sheep, how to harness draft animals, how to build a barn, animal housing, country pests, small-scale farming, horses, you name it, how to make cheese. This book has a little bit of everything in it. Now, this is called Storey's Basic Country Skills, A Practical Guide to Self-Reliance. This book is from, let's see what the date is on this. This book was printed, I'm sure it's been printed and reprinted many times, 1999. So when I get a book, I want books that are before the internet really took off, because I 100% agree with Roots and Refuge and the fact that artificial intelligence can easily write books on homesteading and different homesteading skills. And the reason that this is important is I have collected books for a long time, and I've always liked older books that it was very clear were written by people, not by anyone else, real or not real. But this is a good basic book. So I got this book probably 30 years ago. Okay, maybe 20 years ago. And I've had it for a long time. And I have combed over this book way before we ever moved off grid. We've been off grid for 2 years now. But I keep this book because it teaches you how to do a little bit of everything. So this is a good starting point. Yeah. Check it out. I'm also going to, all these books, I'm going to list them out in the description below with links to, I may not put a link, but I'm going to put the title of the book and the author so that you can see and look the books up if you're interested in any of the ones that I talk about today. So that's where I started, was with that book, and I've had it for a very long time. And then I got into the self-help books because living on a homestead, and especially living off grid like we are, I have a whole library of self-improvement books where you can get your mind right, because mental self-improvement is just as important. So this book series, you've probably heard of it, called The Secret. I have the whole Secret series. They are in boxes. The reason all my books are in boxes is because our cabins aren't finished yet, and they're very dusty. And we value our books. Our books are just as valuable as our seeds. So seed collection and book collection are super important to me. So the Secret book series, if you have never read The Secret, I highly recommend you get it. This happens to be my favorite in the series of The Secret. So this book, I actually found this book when I was working. I was working in town, and I was doing knife demonstrations. I was selling surgical stainless steel knives at Costco, and I would get up on stage and I would show, the first and best last set of surgical stainless steel knives you'll ever need. And I sliced up tomatoes and did the demonstration, and it was kind of cool. So I worked 15 minutes an hour doing that. So I had lots of free time. So I started, scoping out their books, and I had already read The Secret, and then I found The Hero, and I actually read this book 3 times in the store, in Costco, sitting in their patio furniture, waiting to do my talks again. And this is such a great book. I highly recommend it. And, being a homesteader can be very mentally strenuous, because there is so much to do in a day, and you feel very overwhelmed. But if you get right in the mind, it really helps. So self-help books, I highly recommend The Secret. And if you want to know more about this, I can do a more in-depth video on The Secret. But I know this is about homesteading, so let's get back to homesteading. Okay, so I started with the basic country skills, and then The Secret. Now, the other books that I use all the time are this one. Hold on, let's see if my tea is ready. Let me check it out. Got my little tea ball. And this is the Summer Blend. I made this right when I was starting the video. I didn't cover it. I should have covered it, but I didn't. So this book here, it's called The Essential Life. And this is a Doterra book. So Doterra is a type of essential oil line. This book is great because, and I use this book all the time. So I make a lot of natural medicines, and I use essential oils. So I can go through this book, and it covers everything from like cardiovascular disease and the oils and blends that work well for it. And then it also has in the front here, it covers specific essential oils, like this one is cinnamon bark, and it's full color, and it breaks it down. Cinnamon bark, top uses, pancreas, cold and flu, cholesterol, oral health, and it shows you how to use each of the essential oils for each of the different things that are going on with you. So I will link this book below, but this is a great resource for essential oils. So I use that quite a bit. And then from essential oils, I started getting into herbs. And this one is Rosemary Gladstar's Medicinal Herbs, A Beginner's Guide. I love this book. I use this book so much. This book shows you how to make herbs, how to dry your herbs, how to make salves, how to make fire cider, how to make virtually anything. Salves, tinctures, all of it. It breaks down different herbs. Here's chickweed, talks about the chickweed. And then medicinal uses for the chickweed, how to grow the chickweed. And then here's a chickweed super soothing salve. You can also make a chickweed poultice. So this book covers a little bit of everything. Dandelions, and same thing. It breaks down how to use it, different recipes for it. So if you're going to get one herbal book to get you started in medicinal herbs, this is the book I highly recommend. Rosemary Gladstar. She actually has a lot of YouTube videos also with great information. So you might want to look her up on YouTube. I'll put a link down below. And she also has an herb store where she sells dried herbs as well. So, can't say enough good things about Rosemary Gladstar's The Beginner's Guide. The second book I like for herb making is Making Plant Medicine. So this is Richo, I don't know how to say his last name, Cech. Cech? I'm sorry if I butchered your last name. But what I like about this book is he gives you formularies. So this is more of a storytelling book where he tells you his life experiences and he tells you it in a story format while still giving you the basic information on herbs that you really need. So I love this book. This book is a great read because he does do it in a storytelling format. So like here's a section on aloe vera. You know, the parts that are used, the preparation, the practical uses, and then practical uses internally. And I think that everybody needs a book like this because sometimes when you're doing herbal medicine, whether you're making a sugar scrub or you're making a lotion or you're making your own ear oil, right? Whatever it is that you're making, it's nice to have this story format because you feel like you're getting to talk with an herbalist. And Rosemary Gladstar does the same thing. She's amazing. Now, I actually have no idea if this guy has a YouTube channel or not. I'll look it up before I post it in the description and see if I can find a little more detail on it. I just love his book. I go through the book all the time, and I keep a marker in it, and I keep this book on hand because I'm always referring back to it, whether it be for stinging nettles or poppies or sorrel or whatever I might need. So this book is great. So those are the three primary books that I use for herbal medicine. Now, so the essential oil, the two herb books. Now, I am such a fan of books that I really like old books. The older, the better. So I have two favorite books that are super old. And what I do with the old books is I feel like before Big Pharma, before the doctors, when the doctors actually cared about people and they treated people, not just the symptoms, and they weren't legalized drug dealers, when they actually practiced medicine, and they weren't afraid to give you a home remedy if that was going to help you when you went in to see them. I feel like the older we go book-wise, the more we find that kind of thing. So, that's better. It needed a little while to sit. So, here's two really old books that I found, and these books are precious to me. I don't even know if they're still in print, quite honestly. This is The Herbalist and Herb Doctor. So, this book is filled with Indian medicine, and I actually got this book for free. I was so excited. I got this book for free from, it cost $2 when it was sold. This book was printed in 1932, and I was at a garage sale, and this was on the table, and I had just bought a seed bank from them because their mother had passed away, and all of her seeds were in the freezer, and she had an extensive seed library that she kept in her freezer, and so that's why we drove out there to Knoxville, and we got the seed library because I love seeds just as much as books. And when I saw this book and I saw how awesome this was, like this is ginseng. See, it shows a little picture of the ginseng, a description of the ginseng. And from 1932, it's amazing how the information we get is so much different than the information that we have now on things. Because that's when they still had herbal schools. You know, the farther back you go, the more herbalism was still relevant in today's society. But now it's making a comeback. So I try and find the books that are as old as possible because I feel like I'm going to get the most valid information. Do I follow everything in the books? No, but it's a resource. So if you're looking something up, and I look something up on, chickweed in here, and then I look it up in here, and then I look it up in the medicinal herbs from Rosemary Gladstar, that's how I do my cross-referencing, right? On different ways to use the medicine. So, okay, so that's one really old book, and it was free, and I love it. It's got so much great information in it. It's a really good book. I will write down the author and the information on it so that you have that. Second book, I was actually watching a YouTube video from Adapt 2030. If you've never heard of that channel, it's really good. He talks about the grand solar minimum and how our planet is changing, and it's been changing. It always changes. It's very normal. Civilizations rise and fall based on like the coming ice age. If it's real cold and you can't grow a lot of food, then there's more problems than if it's more of a warmer climate. So anyhow, he was interviewing someone, and I can't remember her name. She was really a great lady, and I really respect her a lot. But she recommended this book. I don't know if you can see it. You see that? This is, and it was hard to find. This book was not easy to find. This book was extremely rare, in my opinion, to find it. Dr. Chase's Recipes or Information for Everyone, Enlarged and Improved Edition. So this book is from, I believe it's 1903, but I just want to verify before I say that. Yeah, this book was printed in 1903. This book, it says in the preface, which I won't read to you unless you really want me to, then I'll do a separate video and I read the preface. This book says that it was found in every home, every business, and every walk of life. One thing you could be sure to find on everyone's bookshelf was this book. Well, in 1903, if every home had this book, how come these books are virtually impossible to find? Because it's information they don't want us to have access to. So this book covers everything from, blacksmithing to herbal medicine to how to cook a chicken. I mean, everything and anything. Skincare. It's not just all medicinal. Gunsmithing. How to shoe a horse. It has, like here, it has the skeleton of a horse. It has all the circulatory system. So it has a little bit of everything in it. So this book is awesome. Whenever I have free time, I like reading through it. How to make mayonnaise. What counterfeit money is. I mean, it's super cool. It's a super cool book. And I'm such a book nerd when it comes to these old books. I get very excited by them. So pardon my excitement, but see if you can find that book because it is cool. 1903. All right. So another book that might surprise you is we were going to the flea market and a lady saw me and I was talking to her and she gave me this for free a year or two ago maybe, since we moved to Tennessee. And I never thought I would have a book like this because I was like, oh yeah, right. Betty Crocker. The Betty Crocker cookbook. It's cool because it breaks down inside of here. It has basic cooking skills, which I don't really need. But what it does have, if you look in here, it has all different pages. I have learned how to make pudding from scratch. I have learned how to make whipped cream. It does so many different things. How to clean shrimp. So this is a really good book if you want some basic cooking. Now I will say that I don't necessarily agree with everything in this book, but that doesn't mean the book isn't a good resource. So again, cross-referencing things are always important. Like this, it talks about recipes, approximately how much you need in the recipes. And it also talks briefly about, you know, making cakes and pies from scratch. And what else is cool? Like this is the beef section. See how it breaks down all the different cuts of meat? And it shows you how to, you know, what the different cuts are and where they come from. I mean, there's a lot of really cool, useful things that anyone who's getting into cooking who isn't, you know, a master chef already could definitely benefit from. It even shows, like in the chicken section, it shows you how to break down a chicken, how to debone it, how to do the different things to make the different recipes. So, anyhow, shameless plug for Betty Crocker. Not high on my friend list, but I do love this. And I think I love it because it's old. I mean, it's before the food got so manipulated and, you know what I'm saying. It's a good resource for a few reasons, but I mean, I particularly like the fact that I was able to learn how to make custard, chocolate pudding. Are you kidding me? I have cocoa powder. I want to know how to make chocolate pudding from scratch, cooked on the stove, not in a little box that I add milk to. So, I got one more book I got to get. Hold on. Okay, so I couldn't leave out my canning book. So, the book that I use more than anything is the Ball Blue book. And every year they come out with a new version of this book. I recommend getting the oldest one you can find. The older the book, the better. So the Ball Blue book, this one is from 2013. I would like one older than this. I do have it in a box somewhere, I think. But this gives you canning basics. It also has a lot of recipes in it. But what I found, and the reason I said that you should use an old book instead of a new book, so like right here, sweet pickle relish, right? Here's all the recipe, all the veggies you need and stuff like that. And then it says ball pickle crisp, optional. And a lot of times it'll say, you know, use the spice mix. Well, the older books don't say, you know, use a pickle spice mix. They say, you know, use this much clove, this much dill, this much, you know, whatever the different things are, the mustard seeds. It actually gives you the full recipe. And this, which I can't blame Ball for doing this, but they try and sell their products in this book. So they're selling their pre-made packages, their pickling packets, their jelly packets, things like that. But the older the book is, before they started monetizing it more, they actually give you the full recipe. So that's why I say the Ball Blue book is amazing. I've used it for many years. This one is well worn, with dirty pages, and I dig through it often, which is why it was over in my canning section, and I keep it right in the kitchen. But get the oldest version you can find. And like I said, this one's 2013. I feel like I have one from 2009 or 10. I would have to pull it out of my boxes, but this one's okay, because I know how to make the different mixes if I need to. Okay, so those are my tried and true books that I use all the time. Now, I will tell you this. I have 3 other recommendations I want to make, and I have not read them fully, but I'm very much looking forward to it, being a book nerd that I am. So I just recently went to the Self-Reliance Festival in Camden, Tennessee, at the SEO compound, and we saw Joel Salatin. I don't know if you've ever heard of Joel Salatin. I'm sure most of you have if you're homesteaders. But he wrote this book, and it's Everything I Want to Do is Illegal. War Stories from the Local Food Front. So, I have not read the whole book. I've read a couple chapters. It's really good. So, what I want to say is keep getting new books. Keep finding new books. Keep looking for new books. I'm super excited to read this book. So, as soon as I have time, I'm going to be reading it. He signed it. See? Exciting, I know. Okay, so the other book I got recently that I have spent a lot of time looking in, and I was pretty sure it was a scam, and I didn't think it was something that I wanted to get, but I have to say that I've been spending a lot of time learning more about this book and reading about it, and you've probably seen ads for it, is The Lost Ways. I borrowed this book from a friend, Donna, and I enjoyed it so much that I went and got the book myself. I think it was like $40 or something like that. But this book covers a wide range of things, and what I like about it is it's more primitive skills, more pioneer lifestyle type options. There's recipes, there's beer making, reloading, casting bullets, primers, everything. There's making knife blanks, you know, temporarily installing temporary wood stoves, soap making the old-fashioned way, all kinds of things. How to make a water wheel, how to do sourdough, how to tag a trail when you're walking down a trail, basic poultices. So yeah, I've been enjoying getting to know this book. I didn't list it as a favorite because it's still pretty new to me. I like it a lot, but it's not one of my favorite tried and trues. In a year or two, it might be. So I'm still digging through it. And then one last thing is, this isn't a book. This is actually a video series that I got from Marjory Wildcraft, who's also on YouTube. She has the Grow Network, and she has Grow Your Own Vegetables, or Grow Your Own Groceries. And this is a video series. And anyone who's starting out in homesteading that wants a good resource, these are 2 DVDs. And it covers, you know, water, how to get water, gardening, rabbits, home butchering, poultry, dogs for predator protection, perennials, and, you know, all different kinds of things like hog panels and solar dehydrators and things like that. So it's not a book, but it is a good video series, you can see. And this information isn't going to change if you have this hard resource. So I'm sure you can probably go to the Grow Network, which I'll link down below, and you can get this if it's something you're interested in. She's been doing this a long time. She has great information. I actually saw her speak at Mother Earth News in Pennsylvania 4 or 5 years ago. That's how I heard about her, and we decided to get this because we thought it was such a good resource. Okay, so I covered some of the books, and this was a long video, I know that. I need a drink, in fact. So, where do you get books from? Books, a lot of people get them from Amazon. But let me tell you this. Every town has a public library. And did you know that every public library, because the books are... So at the public library, if you go in there, they have annual book sales. So I don't know if you've ever been to an annual book sale at a public library. The smaller the library, the better. So I do believe, and I could be wrong, that they get government funding to buy new books, and then their old books, which aren't even always old, but the ones that they're clearing off the shelf, they do a book sale. And you can get paperbacks for 50 cents. 50 cents for a paperback, and hardcover books, any hardcover book like this is $1. 50 cents or $1. Are you kidding me? And it's fun. You get to dig through all kinds of books. So we have gotten historical books. We got self-help books. We've gotten gardening books. We've gotten canning books. We've gotten homesteading books. You can get all kinds of books at your public library. So don't be afraid to use it as a resource. They actually give you a list of different libraries in the area and when their book sales are, because that's a way that they generate revenue. I think they should charge more than 50 cents or $1. But sometimes they'll even have like fill a paper bag for $5. So you can get some great books. So if you're building a book library, which I think everyone should build a book library, there should be historical books, autobiographies, self-help books, you know, like The Secret. There should be how-to books, you know, on how to physically do things, and then herbal medicine books and self-defense books. I didn't show you any self-defense books here because I don't read them. We have some, but that's more something Sean will read than me. So I'm busy making plant medicines and, you know, canning and cooking and making our own dog food and taking care of the rabbits and the chickens and stuff that needs to be done on the homestead. Anyhow, my seedy friends, I would love to hear what you think about this video. I know it's 30 minutes long. I hope you got a cup of tea. I hope you enjoyed it. Until next time, my seedy friends. Bye.